the saints, in paradise, sitting on a cloud to be precise, playing our funky music to the angels up above.
The Saints in Paradise, Chapter 10. That's it. Right. Sam and Willie crawled back through the crack in the floorboards of the Crook's hideout. Then they climbed back up. That's right, yeah. Then they climbed back up the wall to Sam's little hidey hole in the corner of the room. "The Crooks have gone!" exclaimed Sam Spider. Looking around, Willie the Moth noticed that the place was indeed empty. "Are there any more rooms here?" asked Spider. "Yes, there is," Sam replied. "Through that door and up some winding stairs." He pointed up to the corner of the ceiling. "We can get there through a crack in the ceiling." The two creatures crawled along the ceiling and on through the crack. Crawling over the rafters, they greeted some money spiders before going through another crack which led them to the floor of the rooms upstairs. "There's nobody here," Willie remarked. "You're right," Sam agreed. "What's more, the egg boxes have gone." Willie was a little confused. "Egg boxes?" he asked. "Yeah, man," replied Sam. "The egg boxes that one of those crooks was turning into fake movie cameras. It looks as if they're going to do the job real soon. Maybe even tonight. Then I'd better inform operations," Willie the Wasp told him. He flew off to HQ. Bzzz.
Spreading happiness and peace and love.
The lawyer took a little black book from the table in front of him. Slowly and deliberately he opened it out and cleared his throat. "For a start," he began, "these 6 musicians, known collectively as the Saints, which I feel in itself is blasphemous, were seen and heard to be playing jazz music on their way to the Golden Gates." Yeah. This outrageous behaviour caused star number 1635 to sway to and fro as though it were under some evil influence. "May the saints be preserved," commented Spike. "We've already done that one," Duke reminded him. "Call star number 1635, ordered the judge. Whoops. A series of voices fading in the distance repeated, "Call star 1635, call star 1365, call star 1365. After a while, the star that led the group to the Golden Gates appeared before the court. "Can you confirm that you are star 1635, asked the judge. "I can," replied the star. "I didn't know stars could talk," said Del. "Of course they can," replied Spike, "as long as they've got a script. Can you tell the court," the lawyer went on, "in your own words, why you rocked to and fro whilst these musicians were playing this, jazz music?" "Jazz rock," Spike corrected the judge. "I couldn't help it, Your Honour," the star explained. "Something inside me made me swing back and forth in time to the music." "Good for you, 1635, Duke praised the star. "You're real star material." "It is my belief," the lawyer announced, "that this jazz music brought out a demon inside the star." "Excuse me, but I don't think so," the star retorted. "It just made me feel happy. I'm sure there's nothing wrong with feeling happy, is there, Your Honour? You are excused, the judge told him. The star went out. These musicians have continued to play their devilish music during their stay in sub-paradise, the lawyer droned on. They have even been giving lessons in this so-called jazz rock music to the cherubs and angels. Is this true? Asked the judge. Certainly, admitted Spike proudly. What's wrong with that? Made a lot of spirits very happy. That's the spirit, Duke encouraged his partner. Have you any witnesses? Asked the judge. I'll act as witness, Chico volunteered as he flew over from the cherub's gallery. I enjoy the saints' music very much, Chico told him. I don't think it's the devil's music at all. In fact, I think it's good for the soul. Hope that sold it to them, whispered Spike. These 6 musicians who appear before you, Your Honour, Chico continued, have taught me to play their kind of music. It is very refreshing, after several hundred years of playing nothing but hymns and carols. What is wrong with hymns and carols? Asked the judge sternly. Nothing at all, Chico replied, but it makes a change to play music that is with it now and again. With what? Asked a very puzzled judge. With a bit of a beat, Duke explained. You know, man, like real cool, swinging music. Cool? Swinging? The judge tried his best to understand. Does swinging music make you cool? Just then, Malika flew in and settled down beside Chico. I like their music too, Malika announced. It's fresh, happy music. Surely, Your Worship, you must get bored at times with all this hymn singing. I'm not here to answer your questions, the judge told her. I'm here to try the case before me. Why are you being tried next? Asked Spike. You'd better off trying a little jazz rock, Duke suggested. Jazz rock? The judge repeated. What exactly is this jazz rock? I have heard of Blackpool Rock, and I have heard of the Rock of Gibraltar. Is this jazz rock something like rock cake? Crumbs, Spike exclaimed. Now that really takes the biscuit. You can't have your cake and eat it, added Duke. Before we go any further with this trial, the judge told them as he scrutinised Malika and Chico's mode of dress, what are those cherubs wearing? I thought cherubs were not supposed to wear clothing at all. What also of the shrouds worn by the ones who call themselves the saints? Surely these are not regulation wear? This is, isn't it? Hey? Yeah. For your planet, yeah. Okay. I'm exceedingly glad you noticed that, Milord, the lawyer said. With a sneer. You see, these spirits made these clothes themselves, strictly against regulations, you see. The judge was intrigued. How did they manage that, he asked. Never in a millennium have I seen such attire in paradise. They stole some shrouds, the lawyer exclaimed. They were stolen from the shroud cloud, Your Honour. How can we steal them when they didn't belong to anyone? Dill protested. The shroud cloud? The judge asked hazily. I can't quite remember what the shroud cloud is. His memory must be getting a bit cloudy, said Spike. It is the cloud where those souls who have departed leave their cast-off shrouds, my lad. The lawyer reminded him. Oh yes, of course, I remember now, the judge told them. He turned his attention back to the saints. How exactly did you get those colourful patterns of them? He asked. Groovy, aren't they? Chico mused as he held up the little gown out for the judge to look at. They took some flowers from the Garden of Paradise. They then made dye out of the petals. They also took pine needles from the trees in order to sew their gowns together. Not once, Your Honour, did they get permission for these activities. Oh, how ingenious, the judge said with delight. But they are guilty of stealing and vandalism, the lawyer protested. The clothes they have made are certainly not regulation wear. In fact, I believe they look rather ridiculous. That's funny, laughed Spike. I think you look ridiculous in that wig, but everyone to their own, eh? But you see, this is regulation wear, the lawyer told him smugly, and traditional. That's typical, that is, Duke retorted. As long as it's traditional, you can get away with it. Get away with all sorts of things. Old clobber, it's different though, isn't it, if an ordinary guy tries to become an individual. For once, the lawyer was lost for words, sat down in a huff. Have you anything more to say? The judge asked the saints. Yes, we have, Spike spoke up. We admit that we took the gowns from the cloud shroud without permission, and that we took petals, stones and pine needles from the Garden of Paradise. That was just done in an effort to cheer us up. We'd just been killed, for God's sake. Members of the jury tutted, showing their disapproval. In so doing, Spike continued, we have cheered others up too, including the cherubs and the angels. A big cheer went up from the cherubs and angels who were seated in the cherub and angelic gallery. Order in court! Order in court! Order in court! The judge demanded. The cheering died down. The jury has heard all the evidence. The judge made his final summing up. It is now their duty to decide whether these spirits, known collectively as the saints, the saints, should be allowed to enter greater paradise, or whether they should be taken away by the chief demon of Hades. Hey, hang on a minute. Yeah. Hang on a minute, Spike interrupted. What the devil are you talking about? We haven't done anything bad enough to be sent to the land of fire and brimstone. I bet you've got people in Greater Paradise who have done far worse things than we have. I very much doubt it, the lawyer commented smugly. How about Richard the Lionheart? Duke asked. Is he here? Naturally, the judge confirmed. He was a great man, well known for his wisdom and chivalry. He was also known for a number of people he killed during the battles too, Duke told him. Killing during war is just as much murder as killing in civilian life in my book. Yeah, Spike broke in. He forced his own religion on people of different countries too. If they didn't agree with him, he killed them. But, the judge began, what about Sir Walter Raleigh? Cy added. He's here too, the judge told them, a truly great explorer and benefactor to mankind. Maybe, said Cy. He also introduced tobacco and smoking to millions of people. He may well have helped a lot of people to die before their time. Is that good for business up here? That's a really good point, the Duke cut in. I've a feeling, though, that your argument will go up in smoke. Yeah, Spike agreed. I think it's just a pipe dream to think that they will help us in our case. True, said Cy, but it may make our sentence a little lighter. Lighter, yeah. can't match that, Duke admitted. I thought that one was a real gas. If the defendants have finished, the judge said impatiently, the jury may decide upon your fate. First, though, I must finish summing up. That figures, commented Duke. Oh, he's joining in now, look. Yeah. Yeah, I know. God, I'm getting nothing but interruptions here. Where were we? Right. That figures, commented Duke. These souls, the judge continued, have made a few errors during their early days on earth, as most mortals do. So, we're only human, aren't we? Yeah, you're not, I know, but we're only human. They do, however, seem to have made up for these in later life. Since their stay in some paradise, though, they appear to have violated every rule in the book. They have been playing music other than hymns and carols. They've been taking things that do not belong to them, and they have indeed, still are, wearing apparel which contravenes the traditional dress code of paradise. On the other hand, he continued, they seem to have given great pleasure to many angels and cherubs, both in their music and in the way they have been dressing. If you find these souls guilty of violation, then you must also find all those cherubs and angels guilty for enjoying the activities of the defendants known as the saints, and indeed for actually encouraging them. You may also deem that taking the shrouds without permission and altering them to be a crime, as you may decide that they were merely recycling them, a practice to be encouraged both here in paradise as well as on earth. The judge cleared his throat and announced, the jury will now adjourn and return a verdict. The whole jury arose. Pardon me. The whole jury now arose, bowed to the judge and left their seats, disappearing into the clouds behind them. They are all fools, a voice came from behind the group. Looking around, they saw that it was the Paradisian timekeeper, Mark Time. What do you mean? Asked Des. They're supposed to be the wisest men who ever lived. Maybe, Mark agreed. Wise people in their own time, maybe. Times have changed since their times, though. Remember, wisdom exists only within the scope of one's learning.
So began the saints' adventures, with the lawyer looking on. A trial was set to see if they could be granted dispensation for rocking paradise, to send them earthbound back to their families. We are the saints, in paradise.